the little bear who was afraid of the dark. Deep inside a peaceful green forest, beneath tall pine trees and beside a sparkling little stream, lived a tiny bear named Benny. Benny was soft and fluffy, with round brown ears, tiny paws, and the gentlest heart in the whole forest. But Benny had one very big fear. He was afraid of the dark. Every evening, when the golden sun disappeared behind the mountains and shadows stretched across the forest floor, Benny would run straight into his cozy cave. He would pull his warm blanket over his head and whisper nervously, "What if something scary is hiding out there?" Outside, the forest changed at night. Trees looked taller. Bushes looked like monsters. The wind sounded like whispers. And every tiny crack or rustle made Benny shiver. His mama always smiled kindly and said, "The dark isn't scary, little one. The forest simply goes to sleep." But Benny wasn't sure. One evening, Mama Bear asked Benny to help gather berries before sunset. "Stay close," she reminded him gently. Benny nodded. The forest glowed orange and gold as they picked sweet berries together. Birds sang cheerful songs overhead, and butterflies danced through the air. Benny began to relax. But while reaching for the biggest berry bush he had ever seen, Benny wandered farther and farther away. Soon, he looked up. Mama was gone. The trees around him had become thick and unfamiliar. And worst of all, the sun was setting. The sky slowly turned purple. Cold shadows crept across the ground. Benny's little heart began to pound. "Mama," he called softly. No answer. The forest grew darker. Crickets chirped. Leaves rustled. An owl hooted somewhere far away. Benny trembled. "This is it," he whispered. "The scary nighttime forest." Tears filled his eyes as he stumbled down the narrow path. Then suddenly, tiny golden lights floated around him. Benny gasped and hid behind a tree. But the lights twinkled gently in the air like tiny stars. Fireflies, dozens of them, danced around Benny in glowing swirls. One landed softly on his paw. Benny blinked. "Oh," he whispered. "They're beautiful." For the first time, the darkness didn't feel quite so scary. The fireflies lit the path ahead like tiny lanterns. Benny slowly followed them deeper into the forest. Soon he heard soft music above him. "Hoo, hoo." Benny looked up nervously. On a tree branch sat a large gray owl. But the owl didn't look frightening at all. She fluffed her feathers and sang a calm nighttime song. The sound was soft and peaceful, like a lullaby. "Good evening, little bear," the owl said kindly. "Aren't you afraid of the dark?" Benny asked. The owl smiled. "The night is full of wonderful things," she replied. "You simply have to look closely." Benny listened carefully, and suddenly he noticed things he had never heard before. The gentle singing of crickets, the whispering wind in the trees, the bubbling stream nearby. The forest wasn't spooky. It was alive. As Benny continued walking, the trees finally opened into a wide clearing, and there above him, the night sky sparkled with thousands of stars. Benny stopped in amazement. The moon glowed silver and bright. Stars shimmered like diamonds across the sky. He had never seen anything so beautiful before. The darkness he feared for so long was holding something magical all along. Benny sat quietly in the grass, staring upward with wonder. Then he heard a familiar voice. "Benny!" Mama Bear came hurrying into the clearing. Benny ran into her warm hug. "Oh, Benny, I was so worried." "I'm okay," Benny said softly. Mama smiled. "You found the beauty of the nighttime forest, didn't you?" Benny looked up at the glowing stars. "I thought darkness was full of scary things," he said. "But it's full of beautiful things too." Mama kissed the top of his head. "Sometimes fear disappears when we understand it." Together, they walked home beneath the moonlight. This time, Benny didn't hide under his blanket. Instead, he curled beside the cave entrance and watched the stars twinkle above the forest. The wind hummed softly. Fireflies danced nearby, and Benny smiled sleepily. The dark no longer felt scary. It felt magical. And from that night on, whenever the sun went down, Benny would whisper happily, "Good night, beautiful forest." Moral: fear disappears when we understand it.